Okay. Hi everyone, myself N. Vinay Kumar and I am here to give my lecture on the course Utilization of Electrical Energy. Okay. And in this lecture, I just want to explain the following contents. Those are nothing but application of electric drives as well as different types of industrial loads. Okay. These are the topics that I was going to cover in this lecture. These are the topics that I was going to cover in this lecture. The first one is nothing but application of electric drives. Okay, we will be seeing on how many applications or how many number of applications we are going to use these electrical drives. Use these electrical drives or electric drives. Okay, in n number of industrial and domestic applications, we are preferring the electrical drives. Okay, we will see all those applications over here. Okay, the first one is nothing but domestic application. Okay, in the case of domestic applications, a small universal motor which is usually series type is used for various domestic appliances like domestic refrigerators as well as shavers as well as vacuum cleaners as well as mixer grinders as well as washing machines. Okay, in all these applications, we are going to use the small universal motor usually of series type. Okay, moving on to the next application, that is nothing but, okay, moving on to the next application, that is nothing but cranes. Okay, in the case of cranes, it requires high starting torque. Previously, we have studied about various kinds of motors. Okay, and we have seen their starting torque values as well as their speed values. Okay, as per the load requirement, here in this case, or as per the crane requirement, we need to choose the motor which is having high starting torque. So here in this case, in the case of cranes, we will be preferring the DC series motor or DC compound motor. Okay, here the reason why, okay, you might be getting a question over there. Sir, previously you have said that DC series motor is having high starting torque. Then why you are using the DC compound motor? Okay, we can get the similar kind of operation that we are getting in the case of DC series motor by using the DC compound motor also. Okay, in some applications, in some cranes, DC compound motors will also be preferred. Okay, this is nothing but the crane picture of the crane. Moving on to the next one, lifts. Next one, lifts. Okay, nowadays in most of the apartments or in most of the academic office or in buildings, we are using the lifts. Okay, in that lifts we will be preferring the either DC compound motor or an AC slip ring induction motor. Okay, and also if you want to control the speed, of the motor that is present in a lift, we will be preferring the Ward-Leonard method. Okay, and I think in your previous lecture we have discussed about what is so-called Ward-Leonard method. Okay, there we are having the motor generator set in order to control the speed of a single motor. Okay, here also similarly we will be using such a kind of alignment, or we will be using the same method in order to control the speed of an motor that is used in the lift. Okay, moving on to the next machines, those are nothing but lathe machine, millings and grinding mills or grinding machines. Okay, what is so-called lathe machine? These lathe machines are nothing but the machines which are used for drilling or cutting the metals, Okay, in the case of the lathe machines, DC shunt motors will be preferred. Okay, the reason is lathe machines requires the motors which are driven at constant speed. So we will be using the DC shunt motor over there, and in the case of millings and grinding machines, squirrel gauge induction motor is preferred. Okay, moving on to the next one, planer. Okay, what is so-called planer, or what is the purpose of this planer? The purpose of this planer is to remove the rigidness on a particular surface. Let us consider, for example, a wood surface. For that wood surface, if there are any unevening on those surfaces, we can remove all those uneven parts by using these planers. Okay, just to make the surface smooth, we will be using these planers. Okay, in these planners, we will be preferring the DC shunt motor or DC compound motor. Okay, this is how the planner will look like. Okay, this is nothing but the picture. Here what I was going to do is, here I had taken the wood material, okay, and this wood material will be passed over this planer. Okay, so what will happen is this planer will check for the evenness of the surface. If there is any unevenness, or if there is any roughness on the surface, or if there is any rigidness, that will be removed by using these planers. That will be removed by using these planers. Moving on to the next one, machine tool applications. Moving on to the next one, machine tool applications. In these machine tool applications, we will be preferring the squirrel cage induction motor. The reason is it was having so many number of advantages, like simplicity at the same time, reliability at the same time, low cost at the same time, minimum maintenance required. Because of all these features, in most of the machine tools, in most of the machine tool applications, we will be preferring the squirrel cage induction motor. We will be preferring the squirrel cage induction motor. Moving on to the next one, that is petrochemical industry. That is petrochemical industries. Okay, pumps have been driven by induction motor with control flow can be accomplished by using the throttling valves. Okay, here I will be using the induction motors in these petrochemical industries. In these petrochemical industries, I will be using the induction motors, and there, if I want to have the control over the flow of the liquid or control over the flow of fluids, what I will do is I will fix the valves in those throttles. Okay, that is. Moving on to the next one, paper mills. Here in this application, we require constant speed driven motors. So here we need to search for the motors which will run at constant speed. Okay, in the case of paper mills, we will be preferring the synchronous motors. The same thing was written over there. Okay, in paper mills, grinders are operated at almost constant speed and can be started under light load condition. So what I was going to do is, I was going to use the synchronous motor as it is suitable for driving those grinder drives. Okay, moving on to the next one, that is machine tool shears. That is nothing but machine tool shears. Okay, previously we have seen about the machine tool applications. Then what about the machine tool shears? Okay, the machine tool shears are nothing but the machines which are used to cut a metal surface into different shapes. If I want a circular shape, for example, if I want a circular shape for a particular metal, what I was going to do is, I will fix the shear over there. I will fix the machine tool shear. Okay, because of that, I can cut the material into a circular shape. Like that, by placing the shears or by using the shears, I can cut the materials into different shapes. Okay, in those machine tool shears, it requires high speed motors with gear arrangements. So here we will be using the DC series motor or slip ring induction motor. Okay, moving on to the next one, that is electric traction. Okay, while discussing about the characteristics of DC series motor, there itself I had given you the statement. That is, in the case of traction, it requires high starting torque. So definitely I need to go for a motor which can generate high starting torque. Okay, that's why in the case of electric traction, we will be using the DC series motor. The same thing was written over here. DC series motor is simple and robust and is used for suburban areas where high rate acceleration is essential for mainline works. Okay, if it requires very high acceleration, definitely we need to go for DC series motor. In the case of electric traction, what we need to do is, for a locomotive, number of compartments will be connected, and those compartments will be in the rest position initially. And in order to drag those compartments, or in order to make those compartments from rest position to movement, we need to apply the more amount of force. That is nothing but more amount of torque. Okay, if more amount of torque is required, definitely we need to go for the DC series motor. Okay, moving on to the next one, that is nothing but cement works. Okay, in the case of cement works, we will be using the three-phase slip ring induction motor. We will be using the three-phase slip ring induction motor. The same thing was written over there. Three-phase 11 kV slip ring induction motor are used as the size of the motors used for rotating the current cleans are very large. Okay, we will be preferring this. Okay, these are nothing but the various applications where we are using the electrical drives. Moving on to the next category, that is nothing but different types of industry loads. Okay, these industrial loads are broadly classified into three types. Those are nothing but continuous loads, intermediate loads, variable or fluctuating loads. The same thing was kept over here. Continuous loads, intermittent loads, as well as variable or fluctuating loads. Okay, here the before choosing a motor, we need to know about the load constraints. We need to be well aware about the load constraints, and the size of the motor will depends upon the first factor, that is nothing but the temperature rise. And this temperature rise will be depending upon the type of the load that is chosen. Okay, the temperature rise of a motor driving the continuous load will be different, and the temperature rise of the motor driving the intermediate load or intermittent load, okay, this will be different. At the same time, the temperature of the motor driving the variable or fluctuating loads will be different. That means before choosing the motor itself, we need to identify which sort of load we need to drive. By using that motor. We need to identify that. Next only, we need to choose the motor. That was the first thing. And the second criteria is we need to worry about the torque. We need to worry about the maximum torque. Okay, without considering these two parameters, if you are selecting a motor, means that motor will not have the capability or will not have the flexibility to drive the mechanical load. Or else, if the motor gets overloaded, the motor will be easily damaged. Okay, what is so-called overload? All those things we have discussed in your previous lecture. Okay, let us consider, for example, a load requires a 10 horsepower motor to drive that mechanical load. Instead of choosing the 10 horsepower motor, if you have chosen the 5 horsepower motor, and if you have tried to drive that load, definitely that load will get overloaded and it will draw the excess amount of current. Okay, which will result in abnormal rise in the temperature or rapid increase in the motor temperature. So the motor windings will get damaged. Okay, all this happened mainly because of choosing the motor without considering the load parameters. Okay, thus by keeping in mind the load requirements, and the rating of the motor will be decided by the load condition. Moving on to the continuous load. Under this continuous load, drivers like pumps, fans, this requires constant power. And they will be drawing the same power throughout their operation. Same amount of power throughout their operation. Okay, so it is essential to extract the amount of power needed by the motor. This was the same explanation which I had explained in your previous slide. If the horsepower of the motor is less than what is needed for the load, the motor will be overloaded and subsequently it will get burnt out. The same thing was written over there. In the previous slide, I had taken the example of a 5 horsepower motor and I had explained it. The same thing was there. On the other hand, if the horsepower, for example, before explaining this point, previously we have considered a mechanical load which requires 10 horsepower motor to drive it. Okay, I had explained you by considering the 5 horsepower motor, what was happening over there. I had given the statement that the motor will get damaged. Okay, for example, instead of choosing the 10 horsepower motor, 10 horsepower motor, if I was choosing the 15 horsepower motor or 20 horsepower motor, the intention is I was choosing the motor which was having the larger capacity, So what will happen is, if you are operating that 20 horsepower motor for the mechanical load which requires 10 horsepower, so what will happen is the motor will be driven at half load. At the half load, if it was driven, the efficiency will be drastically decreased. The same thing was described over there. If the horsepower of the motor is more than what is demanded by the load, motor will be operating at less than full load value, and hence lower efficiency and power factor. Moving on to the next load, that is nothing but intermittent load. Here in this case, in the case of intermittent loads, what I was going to do is, I was going to turn on the motor for a short period of time. During that instant, I was having the electrical losses. If the motor is in on condition, you will be having the electrical losses. As the motor gets in on condition, there will be a temperature rise. So the curve was drawn like this. As the motor is in on condition. So after a small period of time, I was going to turn off it. Okay, this sort of load is nothing but intermittent load. Under this intermittent load, we are having two types. Here, if I was operating the motor for a short period of time, and I was turn offing it, next I was going to provide the sufficient amount of time to cool down. Then then it comes under the first category of intermittent load. Under this first category of intermittent load, your mixer grinder will be an example. The same thing was written over there. The motor may be loaded for a short period of time and then shut off for sufficient amount of time, allowing the motor to cool down. Here, this is nothing but the temperature rise time, and this is nothing but the cooling time. Okay, if this is one sort of intermittent load. Moving on to the next type of intermittent load, there what we will do is, I will turn on the motor. Like as in the previous case. I will turn on the motor like as in the previous case. I was turning on and I was getting the electrical losses. Next I was turn offing it. And before it gets cooled down, again I was going to turn on it again. This is second type of intermittent load. That means here I was not providing the sufficient amount of time for the motor to cool down. And this cycle will repeat. Here the another flexibility is, here the temperature rise and the cooling time period here the maximum temperature rise and the minimum temperature will be within a fixed band or within a fixed limits. The same thing was written over here. The motor may be loaded for some time and then shut off for some times. Okay, before the motor cools down completely, the load cycle repeats again. In such a case, a suitable continuous or short time motor is chosen, which when operating on a particular load cycle. Okay, this motor temperature will not exceed the specified temperature limits. Okay, within these two limits only, the temperature rise will be there. Okay, this is another sort of intermittent loads. Moving on to the next category of loads, that is nothing but variable or fluctuating loads. For this sort of motors, the motor selection has to be very, very accurate. Okay, for this sort of motors, we will be selecting the motors based upon their temperature rise and cooling curves. Based upon their heating and cooling curves, we need to select the particular motor to drive these variable or fluctuating loads. Okay, here what I will do is, I will calculate the I will calculate the temperature rise and cooling period of a particular motor. Okay, and I will calculate for different kinds of motors with different ratings. I will calculate those things for different kinds of motors with different ratings, and I will pick the small motor which is having those temperature rise as well as cooling temperature within those prescribed limits. Within those prescribed limits, I will select such a type of motor. The same thing was written over there. The same motor which does not exceed the permitted temperature rise when operating on a particular load is chosen for the purpose. However, an appropriate and simple method of selecting a suitable motor is to assume that heating is proportional to the square of the current. Heating is proportional to the square of the current and square of the load. Square of the current is nothing but square of the load. Okay, by considering that, we need to choose the motor. Okay, the suitable continuous rating of the motor would be the RMS value of the load curve. Hope you all know about the RMS current value. Okay, hope you all know about the RMS value. Okay, this is about the variable or fluctuating loads. Okay, the final outcome of this presentation is to identify a suitable motor for electric drives and industrial applications. Thank you.